Welcome to Whiskey and Whitetails, a show for those that hunt with a passion, drink with a purpose. As always, I'm Gus.
I'm Matt.
And we'd like to say thank you to the Waypoint Network for having us. Thank you to you, the listener, for supporting us and listening to us ramble on and all the good stuff that you do to support us. And of course, our patrons for their support and their loyalty in helping us put these things on. And, you know, all the feedback they give us, just generally being awesome folks.
Big facts.
Big facts.
Big facts. We had a good one this episode. We got it with Aaron Chepenik from Smokewagon. So we like to have him on like once a year or so. And he's not really doing these anymore, we come to find out. But he decided to come on and do one with us. So that was awesome. We appreciate him doing that. And we're super pumped to give this episode to you.
Yeah. Chatted whiskey, cars, guns, little LA history. It was a good episode. So I hope you enjoy it.
Great stories. And I believe this was him in rare form. I haven't normally seen him act this free. But I loved it. I loved every minute of it. Yeah.
Yeah. It was a good back and forth conversation. And yeah, I always like hearing people's adventures and stories, especially anyone who was in, doing business and kind of growing up through young adult life in LA in the 90s.
Yeah.
It
sounds like a crazy time.
It does. Yeah. It does. So enjoy it, folks.
Sweet. All right.
There we go.
Now we're there. We are joined today with singer-songwriter
hello
Aaron Chepenik with his latest great hit.
Oh, hey, baby.
Oh, yeah.
How you doing tonight? Well, you know, I like them bungholes. I heard you like them bungholes, too. So how about you?
I don't know how you come up with hit after hit, but you're really good at it.
Man, I haven't done one in a while. I feel like I lost my audience. They used to be so responsive to those, and I'm just not getting the positive feedback I used to. Maybe I've just gone too far over into the sexy. It's too much sex.
We had one like that. We had just the sip. I don't remember which button. Have you heard that?
Got it.
Here you go.
No.
Just the sip.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
And that's whenever we try something, we do like one sentence reviews. Like instead of getting all nerdy about it, it's just you get one sentence. It's they're fun. I like doing them. I'm gonna bust into this last year's Halloween bottle. Maybe this is 2 years ago. Last year's was glow in the dark.
That one's glow in the dark.
Is it?
Oh yeah, buddy. You better believe it.
I don't check my bottle in the dark very often.
Well, it's a whole generational thing because I had people that would the first year they came out and they'd DM me and they'd be like, "Hey, mine's broken." I was like, well, "What'd you do?" Like, well, I got home from the liquor store and I pulled it out of the box and I turned off the lights. I was like, "Did you hold it in front of a light first?" They're like, "No, what are you talking about?" I'm like, "You got to charge it. It's not iridescent, it's glow in the dark." And they're like, "What?" And then they text me back, like, "Oh my God, dude, this is so cool. Thank you." I'm like, "Didn't you have a little skeleton as a kid?"
Yeah.
Like, what was your...
Tell me you weren't a kid in the 80s or 90s.
What about watch? What about a watch? Did you ever have a watch that you had to...
Yeah, that's true. Today everything has nuclear power or whatever in it, and it all just works.
It all just works. Those
glow in the dark stickers aren't cheap either. We looked into one for a barrel pick, and it was like to get 200 custom glow in the dark stickers was not achievable.
Really?
It would have added too much to the bottle. We weren't trying to make it super crazy pricey.
Oh shit! Hold on. I'm coming back. Am I there?
I can hear you.
Yeah, audio's good.
It's my computer. I bumped it. Oh, come on. Just please, can I just have... There we go.
I was going to say, we could see you.
You know what? Maybe I need a vacation.
You've been busy, man.
I've traveled a lot. I think my last trip is next week. I'm going to Missouri, and I think that's it for the year. I know it is because I said don't schedule any more trips.
It seems like you're almost like a musician these days, just traveling. Everybody wants to get you to sign a bottle and do releases.
Thank God, man. How many brands nobody gives a fuck about anymore? I mean, I'm very fortunate. It's there's a lot. I mean, I think 20 brands filed for bankruptcy like in the past 6 months, and then we have some extra barrel inventory because we have a shit ton. And then I talked to these people that are like sort of working on deals and it's obvious they're like liquidating a brand's entire inventory, and they're kind of telling me what they're doing. I'm like, I know what brand you're talking about based on that mash bill and that stuff. I'm like, fuck, I didn't know they were. But yeah, so it's cool. I'm totally stoked that people want to see me. Every time I do a dinner or something, I feel like there's gonna be one weird person in the corner, and that's it.
Yeah, we've been talking to a
And
lot of
it's
distillers. We talked to one recently, and then and they were like, "Yeah, anyone who tells you in the bourbon industry that it's not failing right now is lying."
it's not failing. I mean, you just have to have stuff in a price point that people want, which
Yeah,
is, the when you say premium bourbon category, I think the average consumer would think that that means, $80, but that's $25 to $40. And so if you look at big brands, uh, Bullet is up, Woodford Reserve is up, um, you know, uh, Old Forester is up, and Jack is down, and Beam is down. And so general consumers, because of the bourbon boom, they've moved on to like higher proof, a little more expensive. They're not paying $85 for finished in molasses and barbecue sauce barrel that's 4 years in a day. So
yeah,
so that is dying. But so that was always like, hey, yes, like Desert Colt is an affordable offering for bourbon guys, but the straight is for general consumers, and Desert Colt as well, and even small batch is under 55, and those straight was always a high mover because of on-premise bars and restaurants and things like that, price per ounce. But uncut the younger was like okay, and small batch was super slow. But now the way the market's gone, those have picked up tremendously. It's much harder to get exposure to general consumers when you're not a big brand and don't have a huge marketing budget and all that stuff than it is for big brands. But people are always gonna, if they're people who have been drinking bourbon aren't going to stop drinking bourbon because there's no prestige. People who are collecting bourbon like fucking Beanie Babies and taking shelfies and getting
yeah.
serotonin hits, like posting it on Instagram, like look at my collection of consumable products that I should be drinking. But like their shelves are stocked, and there's no more prestige in that category. So that shit, I mean, because look, even Sazerac's like, they're like, oh shit, we actually got to sell these we actually got to sell stuff at SRP and try to move some product.
Do you think they're in trouble that now they put that second still in?
Sazerac,
Yeah,
dude, they're like the second largest supplier in the world. I think they're going to be okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
I figured so too.
I mean, they
That's-
have all those gas station brands that Fireball came from. Was it like Dr. McGillicuddy's or whatever?
Mhm.
And all that shit. So they're
Fireball's not going anywhere. That's I
well,
see more
and
Fireball than anything else.
well, there's a reason for that.
Yeah,
You got to buy it. You got to buy the Fireball if you want to get the
yep. If you want the allocation, you got to
Good
sell.
you
stuff.
want fancy pants. You got to buy a little SoCo and a little Fireball.
Yeah, SoCo's. Did you ever have a SoCo day back when you were running a bar?
When I was running a bar, no.
Mm.
In the 80s, when I was 17, sure, I drank SoCo and Yukon Jack and fucking whatever, all kinds of dog shit.
Look at you now. Get some TRT in you, and you're just straight bourbon. That's it.
That was before that. That's probably why, though. Probably drinking all that vodka, drinking 2 liters of vodka a day probably fucked up my hormone system.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else that fucked mine up. So that's probably the truth too.
It's what my allergist thinks. That's why I'm allergic to eggs. Like I probably always had like a minor allergy, and it was because there was a whole period where I thought I couldn't lose weight, and I was just puffed up from eggs. And it started when I opened the bars, and he said probably because my esophagus was always in a state of irritation, it made it easier for the proteins to get absorbed.
I think Gus's brain just clicked.
But you know what? It was fucking worth it. Let me tell you that. The adventures I had, wouldn't trade them for eggs.
Yeah. We tell
Right.
people that all the time. It's like, yeah, we know it's not good for you, but who drinks bourbon because it's not good for you, or because
Oh, I drink bourbon because it slows me down. Like I mellow out.
yeah,
You know, I don't do anything. It's like I have a couple bourbons. I'm like, oh, sleepy time. I'm gonna go home. Goodbye, everybody. Thanks.
yeah.
When I was drinking vodka, dude, I never ever want to go home.
Mm.
Ever.
I'm that way
Nothing.
with beer.
Yeah. Oh, last time I drank beer. Last time I drank beer, I got fat in a fucking day, dude. I drank 37 pints in one night
Hell
because I was taking it easy. I was like, I'm not going to drink any vodka. I'm going to take it easy. And I'm in my own bar. So, according to the bar manager, I was drinking a pint in one gulp and then putting it down, and he would refill it. And my perception was I was sipping beers. I was like, man, I gotta go pee a lot. This is crazy. And I woke up the next day and I puked my guts out. And I called him. It's before people really readily texted. And I said, dude, I think I got roofied or something because I feel terrible. He's like, oh, I was about to call you, see how you're feeling. And I said, why, man? All I had was like a few beers. And he said, how many do you think you had? I was like, I don't know, 5 or 6. He's like, he said, I gave you 34. You went and poured yourself 2, and Robin gave you like 3. And I was like, oh, okay,
Jeez.
that's why. And I puked so hard I got black eyes. And
Man.
I didn't go out that night, and I went out the next night, and I showed up, and people were like, did you get fat in a day? And I said,
so
yeah.
puffy.
Yeah. And I said, yeah, I'm never drinking beer again. That was it. And
That's
even
really it. You held true to that.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Wow.
absolutely. And even we sell, there was a local brewery we'd sell barrels to. There's stuff that they aged in the barrels that was so thick and heavy. I wasn't pounding it. But it was like summertime, and I went to visit them, and they had like some summer yummy beer, and like, here, you want to try this? I'm like, yeah, sure. And I was like a little sip, like, whoa, God, can I have like 70 more of those? I was like, that's it. Nope.
That's hilarious. I get like that with whiskey. I actually have I got this. I collected this many years ago, but I have a red line in my eyeball that is from
From what?
from puking.
Shit. Am I gone? Can you see me?
You're there. We can't see you, but you're there. But it was from puking.
My camera shut off. Hold on a second.
It's all good.
It's not.
We got a good freeze frame of you.
I think I'm looking at the same thing. I'm trying to figure out what I can do to make the camera come back on. Because like the camera light is off. So it's not.
Unplug it and plug it back in. That seems to fix most things.
Oh, here we go. Nope. Settings. Camera. Stop being dumb.
Is that like a?
That's the other one. No, we want that one. There we go.
Nice.
Oh my God.
Is that like a library card catalog behind you? What is that?
That is from the city of LA, and that used to have forms in it. And so the first business I ever did was with a buddy of mine who I met when he was a month sober, and he was a speed dealer, and he paid a Samoan 10 grand to teach him how to cook ice. And he was, glass, and he was the only white guy in LA in the 80s who knew how to cook glass. And so he would sell it to all the rock stars and stuff. And his business partner, Joanne, she would rollerblade around the West Side and sell out of a fanny pack, sell glass out of a fanny pack to tranny hookers and gay hookers and stuff. And so apparently tweakers have a lot of antiques. So he had all these antiques, and we were like, I was helping him out at his store when he hurt his back, and he was like, hey man, I sold a ton of stuff, and it was really fun. We were right next to this restaurant that we were on the east side, and there was all these like hot west side girls, they're like rich, you know, Beverly Hills, west side stuff. And they were coming over, and I was like this cool. I was young back then, so I was cool. And I was like this cool east side guy with all these cool antiques and stuff. And he was like, we should do a store together. And that was when I was working in the film. This is a long-winded answer to this fucking cabinet, by the way.
No, I like it.
But
It's like the best furniture story I've ever heard.
So I was working in the film business, and I was a Teamster, but I moved to LA, and I got a job as a cast driver and a set PA, mainly a set PA. Like, I wasn't in the union in LA, so I wasn't like a union cast driver, so I wasn't making shit. And I was just like, man, I don't want to do this. This is not what I want to do with my life. And so he said, let's do a store. I was like, you know what, dude? I would rather be broke and doing my own thing than working for these assholes. And I got my wish because I was totally fucking broke for quite a while. But it was fun. So we opened up an antique store, and one of the connections we had was the LA city warehouse. And we would go down there and pay this guy cash, and he just let us take stuff. I mean, we'd have to pay for it. It was supposed to be rental, but for movies and things like that. But that was they had just finished City Hall, and the new City Hall, all the offices had built-in modern furniture. So everybody moving back to City Hall from their temporary office was turning in all their furniture to the city of LA. And we were just going there because of my CDL. I could rent a big, huge commercial truck, and we would just drive right in there, and this guy'd be in there like making out with some chick or something, you know, as a city employee, like, because he was the only one down there. And there was all kinds of crazy shit, man. There was riot gear from the 70s. We bought all that at one point. We bought so much, but when we sold the store, I was like, I want this. This is the only thing I want. So
the 80s in LA sounds amazing.
I moved there in the 90s.
Okay.
I'm not that old,
the 90s
but
in
it
LA.
was the 90s in LA was absolutely incredible because everybody left after the earthquake and the riot, and it was cheap and free and easy. And unless you're on the west side, unless you're on like the 405 or something, there was no traffic. Nobody worked. Everybody was like a DJ or an artist or something. And it wasn't insufferable cunt city. Though that's all San Francisco people. It was all San Francisco people and all the people that got scared by 9/11 in New York, because I knew, because I had an antique store. So I saw like who was moving to town. And when I first moved there, nobody gave a shit what you did. No one was like, everybody had a classic car, like loud, fast cars. Like, we'd be tearing it up. And my daily driver was a 67 Olds Tornado. And
nice.
And everyone had bikes. And it was just the wildest, untamed city I'd ever been to in my life. I'd say even more than Vegas, because Vegas had like some structure, but there was so many parts of LA that were just abandoned. Like when the reason I moved there is I went to visit, and I went to this mansion that was a block up from Sunset Boulevard from the 20s. Like, it looked, you know, like when you see a movie from the 20s, it like huge pool, like 20 Spanish architecture. And I was like, who the fuck lives here? And it was these kids, these college kids. I was like, oh, are you like rich kids? They're like, no, it's $1,200 a month for this house.
Wow.
And that, you know, even in 1996, that was nothing for a house like that, you know. And I was like, fuck yeah, man, I'm moving to LA. And it was crazy. And then the area we opened our store became like the hot area. And so we kept getting written up about in like fashion magazines and shit. And so then we get invited to those parties on the west side. And that was like, I smoked cigarettes back then. I rolled my own, and me and Barry were just these crazy motherfuckers. And we'd go to the west side, and it was like the girl, like these models, like way out of my way way out of my whatever, how I look, out of my league, that's the word.
Yeah.
But I was just like sitting there, like I was all into vintage stuff, and I had my Tornado and rolling cigarettes, and these chicks would be like, "Who the fuck are you?" I'm like, "Oh, I own the store in Silver Lake." They're like, "Oh, Silver Lake's so cool," blah, blah, blah. And it was nonstop action. I got a lot. The bar was amazing, but there has been no time in my life where I had more action than that antique store.
And you owned your own store, you had a Tornado, and you were rolling your own cigarettes, and you probably looked the same. You dressed the same as you do now, or is that a new thing?
My hats were, and I had hair, but I had they're like real cowboy hats, like from the 20s and 30s, like real big brim,
Yeah.
Stetsons, but they had like the fedora crown, and they were like flatter. They weren't.
Yeah.
With the ribbon edge.
And you were just the coolest guy in town.
I was the coolest guy in town.
That's awesome.
It
Yeah,
was
cool on a budget. That's everybody's dream.
All on a budget, yeah, man. I mean, even my bike, I had a 71 Honda CB750. It wasn't a Sandcast motor, but I bought that when nobody wanted them. I was like, this bike is so cool. And all my friends had Moto Guzzi's and BMW /2s, and or was it /5s? I can't remember now. But the Toasters. And I was like, yeah, but this one's fucking metal flake red, motherfucker. Yours are all black. And it's like, it was a death machine. And yeah, it was cool.
Those /2s are coming back. I see them all the time where people like cafe race bob them out.
Mm-hmm.
That's a cool looking bike.
Yeah.
They're not
the Moto
cool the way they looked, but they're cool now.
I think those are still approachable. The Moto Guzzi's are not. The Moto Guzzi's are like, you gotta be a rich guy to buy one of those.
Really? I haven't even looked into those.
Yeah.
Before we get into cars, because that was our biggest complaint last time, is we had you on and we literally just talked about cars the entire time.
Oh, so you don't want to talk about cars?
No, we're going to. I'm gonna do 10 more minutes of not cars, and then we're gonna
talk.
Well, I mean, we could keep going. So I did the store, and from the store, I bought this piece of property with somebody that was technically a setup by the owner, because he carried the note, and the terms were so arduous that he probably figured we'd default and he'd get it back, but we ended up pulling it off. And I rented to Flea. Flea did his music studio in there.
Wow.
He confirmed that I was the coolest guy in Silver Lake. At least that's what he told me.
Nice. That's all the verification you need, I believe.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And then
Especially if that was Flea still on drugs, right?
I think he was.
Was he sober yet?
I don't know. Was he sober? I mean, he didn't seem like fucked up or anything.
Nah.
But and then I sold out of that because I hated the people that I was in business with. And also I just we were so naive, we bought it with so little down, and we thought it was going to be like a house. We're like, okay, we get the rent up and get the value up, and then we can get like 90% out, and you can only get 65% out. And I was like, there's too much money here that I can use to go do something else. And my partner's like, we don't think we can ever do anything else. This is it for us because we're losers. And I said, I can respect that. Give me my share. And they said no. And I said, that's not a good idea. You should give me my money. And because I was very nice. I was going through this very nice period, which I still am, but I had a very angry period. And I was trying to change and take things less seriously and be nicer. But I guess they thought that meant that like I was a pushover. And so I ended up having to sue them. Actually, they weren't taking it seriously. And I told my attorney, I was like, we have to file. And he's like, when do you want to do it? I was like, serve them. Like, when I don't know if it was really Wednesday, but I was like, they're going to vacation on Tahiti on Wednesday. Serve them that morning. Fuck up their whole vacation. They're trying to fuck up my life. Let's ruin their vacation. And I wasn't being a dick. Like what I wanted was way below value. It was totally fair. And then so once we did that, I got my money, and then I used that to open the bar. And because I did construction in the film business, I knew how to build. I built it myself with the help of somebody who made sure what I built didn't fall down and kill everybody. Because I just knew how to build stuff that lasted for 5 days, and you rip it down like it
Right.
looks cool,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And then that's where I met Jonathan, my business partner, and he was like, "Man, this bar is like the best bar I've ever seen. I want to do a bar." I said, "Well, fuck LA. It's falling apart. It's changing. Let's go to Las Vegas." Boop, bop, bop. Open the Griffin.
When was that when you said
And
LA was falling apart? Just curious.
2004.
Wow. Okay.
Mm.
So you saw it that long ago,
Oh yeah,
like
man. And it
16
happened.
years before anybody else saw it.
Oh yeah, it was becoming Cuntville. I fucking drew. I was in my '62 Buick, and like I used to get so much attention in that car. And I drove down, like I'd moved up to Eagle Rock, which was near Pasadena, because I saw that Silver Lake. The irony of everything was, Silver Lake and Echo Park was safe when everybody was a poor artist. When rich people moved in and were paying like $1 million for a 700 square foot house,
Mhm.
and suddenly they're like, why? Oh, there sure are a lot of Mexicans around here. It's like, yeah, dude, it's fucking Mexican neighborhood. Those are your neighbors,
Yeah.
and they're calling and complaining when they're having parties and shit. I'm like, it's not a smart move. That like, because I got along. I mean, I didn't give a. It's like, hey, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I didn't have anything to really take. And I had a '67 Tornado and like a Dodge Dakota V8 with a manual. And so guys always, all the local dudes were asking me about my car all the time and shit. And so, I mean, I parked that car with the windows down back then. Like,
Can't do that today. Somebody will shit in it.
yeah, no kidding. Or go to sleep in it or move into it,
Yeah.
And then everything. I just saw I saw all the tension, and I was like, I got to get out of here. And so I moved up to Eagle Rock, and which everybody made fun of me for. They're like, because it wasn't cool up there.
Mm.
It was like, oh. And I was like, just you wait. 10 years, you're gonna wish you bought a house up here, because this place is gonna be fucking hell.
Yeah.
But then I realized you can't get far away enough.
No, you can't.
You just got to go away, like leave the state.
Yeah.
I will give a PSA for anyone that's never been to a Mexican party. I learned this firsthand. If you go to a Mexican party and they get out of control and the neighbors show up, do not let them know you speak English, because all of those guys are going to be like, no habla, and then you're screwed dealing with the cops and everybody else. So it's just best to go sit in the back and pretend that you don't speak English.
Yeah, I never had any problems, man. It was cool.
Not party. Every time we go to these car shows, we always end up hanging out with them, because we just the part of the town that we stay in. It's always the Mexican party downstairs, and as soon as you come downstairs, they see you and they throw beers at you, and they're like, they don't want you to leave. It's like, I don't want to leave either. I love you guys.
I can't. There was an ice cream place. I can't remember what it was called. Maybe it was Foster Freeze or something like that. And I would go there and get because I didn't have AC in my house or my car. And so I'd go there like to get an ice cream at like 3 in the afternoon, and like all like the dudes would be there. Like it was like car show, like everyday car show, and it was just chill, man. Everything was chill, and then everything became horrible. Every single thing I did, someone had commentary about it. Whether it was a classic car stunk, or it was too loud, or why did I need such a big truck, or blah blah blah, or I was like, what the fuck? I think one time I was wearing a Baker Transmission shirt, and the back of it had like American flag, and it said, buy BUY American, buy BY Americans. And someone was like, "Oh, you got an American flag on your shirt. What do you like? It's a Republican or bad?" I was like, "It's just a fucking American flag. It's supporting like local manufacturing. What are you even talking about?
Yeah.
Like, get me the fuck out of here." And in Vegas was so much more fun, man. I was like,
I love Vegas. We used to go there all the time, but it's kind of like I think it's run its course now. Only because I don't live there, I don't know anybody there, so I got to do the same things every time. But I've always been a huge fan of this. First place I went when I came back from Afghanistan, I went straight to Las Vegas. Had a great time.
Yeah,
I mean, you see my Instagram. I do the same thing every time I drive up and down the lake.
That's what I do now. I rent cars and I drive around.
Yeah, it's all I want to do is just drive, especially in the summertime when nobody's out there, you know. And then, oh, we're talking about cars already.
It's funny how it keeps coming back to that.
That's big huge part of my life. I mean,
Yeah.
cars and bikes.
yeah.
Same.
It's why I do everything for cars and bikes, man.
Yeah. I had someone say the other day, like, he must be doing well. You see all the cars he's got, and I was like, no, he's got the cars because that's what he's doing. What he's doing, so he can get the cars. Like, I know exactly how that feels. Like, if I was doing what you were doing, I'd have a ton of cars too.
I didn't buy them. I'm in my 50s. It's not like I went out yesterday and like bought them all in a day. You know, like hey, let me go buy 10 cars today. You know, and then I had cars I sold that I was like, this isn't me anymore. But I think I've got it dialed into like what I want. And I'm pretty sure everything I have, I'll have forever.
Yeah. Where were you driving when you called earlier? Were you in the M8?
I was in the M8 competition. Yeah, the last of the 2-door V8s.
Yeah, that's what I figured you were in.
End of an era. It's a shame. And why is that a BMW? That should be a Cadillac.
Yeah.
We fucking invented the personal luxury car. That is an American thing. Why is there no American personal luxury car in 2024?
Yeah, people buy the CTSV and now the new ones, and they're like, yeah. And I'm like, well, I mean, it's a 6-cylinder, so I guess.
I had the V8. I had the CT5V Blackwing.
Those
I
are
had
cool.
a CT6 Blackwing. It was cool, man, but it's like still, it's just GM bullshit on the interior, you know, cheap interior stuff.
Yeah.
They're so small.
They are small.
They're so fucking small. And it's 4 doors. And it's like, I feel like I'm driving a tuner car. You know what I mean?
They remind me of IS350 or the IS350s, the Lexuses. That's what they remind me.
Yeah. It's like, I'm too old for this car. Like, this is, oh, I got a family, but I want to go fast. You know? I need my space. I need space, especially once I got the Porsche. I was like, I want a big fucking car where I can spread out and I've got room and I can reach into the center console without contorting my body.
Yeah.
You know, because you're just like, oh fuck, okay, here we go. Fuck that, man. I can have somebody in the passenger seat and it's not gay because we've got space.
It's so crazy because you own a lot of the stuff that I would own, and it's funny because like, we haven't done it in a while, but sometimes we'll end up, I don't know if you're drunk or if it's just me, but we'll end up back and forth and on Instagram for a while. But a silver 996 GT3 is that's gonna happen someday. A first gen Monte Carlo gonna happen someday. I'm gonna have 383 strokers. I'm gonna have 454 big blocks. Like you have all the stuff that I want.
I recommend the 996 GT3 over anything.
Yeah,
because they're so undervalued.
Yeah,
they're so approachable. You can buy one if you buy one that's race prepped and has track hours. They're like 70 grand.
Mm-hmm.
That's perfect and still perfect mechanical condition. You know, mine was like 99 all in, because it's like it's got 40,000 miles, which is what I want. It's not like buying an American car where like low miles is cool because the fit and finish is so shitty that
it's got to work itself into it.
Yeah, like if it's got like 20,000 miles on it, it needs a new paint job. You know, like it's somebody breathed on it 7 times and it's peeling.
Needs a front bumper respray at minimum.
But you know, with 40,000 miles, the engine's been out of it twice for all the issues it's had. And so like I can hammer it. Like if you buy a 6,500 mile car, first of all, you're going to pay a premium. You're going to pay 35 to 40 grand premium, and then you're going to blow it up, and then you're going to have to pay 10 grand in mechanical shit. And so I recommend 40,000 mile, like, you know, depending on your budget, 40,000 mile race prep one. You can get, I see them on Bring a Trailer all the time for 60 to 70 grand.
When I see them, I always look at
Mine,
their driveway and see if it's got oil spots in the driveway. If it doesn't, then I'm like, that's probably a good one.
so the Metzger engine does not have the bearing
Right.
problems that the regular 996 engines have. They don't leak oil like those did.
That's good to know. Is it,
So
is
the
it the
t-
rear
the tur-
main
the-
seal that's doing it?
Yeah. So the turbo's a Metzger, and the GT3s are Metzger engines, and they were engineered for Le Mans. I mean, that motor is the craziest motor I've ever had. Where the harder I push it in the hot weather, the cooler it runs.
I believe it.
Yeah. Unlike my cast iron American engines, where I fucking think I'm going to be stranded in the desert, and you're going to read about me in the news.
Do you think that it's because they did such a good? They're so new to water cooled that they made them to where it's really pumping that water at high RPMs.
Yeah, it doesn't pump it at low RPM. I'll
Right.
tell you that much.
Yeah.
Once you get into the city, if it's 100 and over 105 here, like the AC shuts down and stuff like that, you know. But that can all be addressed with like upgrading your cooling system. But yeah, I don't know. All I know is it's awesome.
Yeah.
Like all I wanted in the summer, every summer I look out my window going, God, because the modern cars are too fast.
They're hard to drive.
They're only fun for me because I'm fucking mentally ill when I'm pushing them to their limits.
Yeah.
And so, and especially a modern car, if you're not pushing it to its limits, it's, you know, fucking watch TV and go around a turn, you know, or like eat a sandwich, or like, because the computer's controlling your suspension, and so the analog stuff, you're not going to go to jail.
Yeah.
Because your limits are so much, so you can have a lot of fun at much lower speeds, you know. And there's more technique, and I always I think there's two schools. There's technique guys and equipment guys. Whether you're snowboarding or hunting or, you know, driving cars, like there's oh man, if I had better brakes, or if I had better this, I'd be. And then the technique guys are like, okay, we're going to figure this out. I'm going to figure out what this piece of equipment requires to get it to 10/10ths, you know. And I always want to be at 10/10ths. So
see what you can do with what you got.
Yeah, and it's a lot more fun, and it's a lot more rewarding.
Yep.
I mean, dude, I've smoked dudes on sport bikes on my fucking 72 shovel head going around a turn, bobbing up and down on that pogo seat, you know, and it's like, and they're just like, what the fuck is this? I'm like, you know, maybe you should have saved your money. Maybe you didn't really need a Ducati.
Yeah.
Maybe you could have got like a moped.
Yeah. Get away with it better if you learn how to drive it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I feel you on that. I got I got these Volkswagens, and we've got a 97 GTI with a VR6 in it, and that thing, I can mash the gas pedal wide open, run through the gears, and have a great time, and never really break the speed limit. But it's fun. I feel like I'm in a race car, you know. I mean, it doesn't pull you back like you know, my F-250 does, but it's still fun.
Well, that's like the Caprice. I only drive the Caprice. Pretty much primarily drive the Caprice exclusively in like March and April, because that's when all the European tourists are here, doing the national park thing. So there's rangers out and everything, and so, you know, I have fun listening to 8-tracks and pushing that car to its limits, which is like 35 around the turn of the whole fucking boat, you know. Woo.
Yeah.
And smoking cigars and shit. So
the Caprice is definitely my least favorite. I did see, you know, I've never seen a gooseneck tape deck in person, or equalizer. I've never seen that in person until you posted it. Well, I've never seen. I've heard of them, but I've never seen what they. You know, I've never looked into it either. But that's crazy. That's a crazy piece of technology.
Yeah,
from the 70s.
And that EQ 80s.
80s.
Yeah. Fuck.
Oh yeah, because that Alpine, you put an out in 80s Alpine tape deck in it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That EQ only existed for 1 year. Very rare.
It's interesting. I just did the sound system because this, you know, I owned this thing in the 2000s, so I did a proper 2000 sound system in it with, you know, 210s and sub and everything. But the amps nowadays have Bluetooth connectivity. So I have actually a radio
Yeah.
delete panel. And whenever I get in, I control everything with my phone, which is annoying because there's no volume knob, but
Right.
it's still pretty cool. It looks clean. Looks like there's no radio in it, but it's got a full sound system in it with, upgrade Alpine speakers in the doors and everything.
That's how the 72 vet is. It's got a Bluetooth, but I don't like it because I look at my phone and I when I could do that stuff, man, I want to tune out. So like I'll go to like it's like my day off and I'll go to pick a song or whatever, and then I'm like, oh no, I have 75 text messages. Who's texting me? What are these emails? Like
Yeah.
like with the tape decks or the CD players, it's like, well, see your phone. I'll get you if I break down or something. And it's just I have no idea what's happening in the world. There could be a nuclear war. I don't whatever.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
What's your favorite out of all of them? The Buick? I think the Buick's my favorite.
The Buick that I'm building?
No, the green one. No, that's the Monte Carlo. No, the
That's the Monte
70
Carlo.
Buick, the 450 one or 541.
Oh, so the one I'm building with the blower and all that?
I think that's going to be my favorite.
That'll be my favorite because that's everything I wanted when I was 13.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna have Alpine stereo on it when I was 13. It's gonna have Hurst lightning rods that I could put a Lenko in it do it for real, but I don't know. I want lightning rods, and it's gonna be fucking orange or green or some crazy color. And I already bought the Recaro seats with sunburst pattern.
Oh, those are cool.
Nice.
And the mesh headrest because I remember seeing that in the catalog. And just, fuck yeah,
I like
I
it.
want that.
I like it. How many more cars do
Totally.
you have that you want to get?
Oh my god, I
I
don't know.
You got to do
All
one of
of
those
them,
two
yeah.
JZ Forerunners like the Arab guys do.
No, I don't want that. Look, my truck needs attention. I need to there's a local shop, Battleborn Off-Road, and like he gave me, he broke down a couple things for me that would like really improve that truck. And I think I think I just want to get everything I own to where I want it to be and then do the truck and then I'll see where I'm at.
Yeah.
Because the truck it's I forget what gen that Ram is, but it's 2015, so you can program the motor and you can put an intercool on it and like get the power up. And I want to put it's got 37-inch tires. I want to go 40s because in the wintertime, man, it's so heavy. I deflate those tires, but driving in the snow with like on a sort of like slopey slopey road, I feel that whole thing like sliding to the side. It's very unsettling on the side of a mountain,
Yeah.
And so if I go 40s, I'll have a bigger footprint, and I think that'll help a lot. And yeah, so but shit, I sold my 66 Nova. I would like to get like a not rare one and put it on a Roadster Shop chassis and build it like fucking, instead of a 409, do like a 509 with stacks coming out of the hood and shit. I love hood penetration.
What about a Deuce?
I love what, a Ford?
No, a Chevy Deuce.
Oh, I don't know. I would want a K5 Blazer.
Yeah.
I want one of those for sure.
My neighbor's got one. I like it. He's got a bunch of work. He's got AC now and it's working. All the windows go up and down and it's in good shape. He just got it back from like a tune up and they like tuned the transmission and everything. And it's
right.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Gus actually has a question for you. Ask him what you asked me earlier about Gavin.
Who's Gavin?
Gus's son.
Oh, Gavin's my son. He's he just turned 18. We're getting ready to buy him a car. We told him I'd buy him a vehicle after he finished his Eagle Scout. And he just
oh, right on.
Just finished that. So, but he's gotten himself interested in the car scene, and I want to get him.
Is he gonna do like ROTC and go to the military, or is it just Eagle Scout and that's it?
No, he likes the Eagle Scout thing. He's really into like finance, like stocks and trading. He wants to do day trading, and he has a business business idea that he and I have to flesh out, but he wants to open up a it's called a barcade. Basically, he wants to invest and collect a bunch of old video games,
Ar-
retro arcade games, and open up a bar
Yeah,
slash arcade. Pay $10, come in, play all day, drink, all that kind of stuff. Good idea for an 18-year-old kid. But
yeah. I mean, he can't do it, right? Because he's 18.
right,
Uh,
we can get
but
it started together though.
that's what they need now because they have to be doing it's. I opened bars when you had to go drink if you wanted to have sex.
Yeah, you don't need that anymore. There's apps
You
for
don't need
that.
that anymore.
Yeah,
There's apps now, so you go to bars for like entertainment.
yeah.
So you got to have like a show. Like there's all this stuff that we do at the bar that when I was the operator, I would have been like, "This is the dumbest shit ever." But who
Yeah, but
gives a fuck what a guy in their 50s wants in a bar now?
yeah,
I'm not a
I don't
ideal customer. I'm a vibe ruiner.
I don't know anything about what this younger generation wants at a bar either. A bunch of I don't know, craft IPA beers and shit that I don't drink. So, but no, I had asked Matt if he had any recommendations for, a car to get him, because he's gotten really into the car scene, and I want to get
Right.
him something that he can sort of, I don't know, participate, have a good time, but not get himself in trouble or killed, but being dumb. But I'd asked him if he had any recommendations for cars that would be a good choice for that.
Oh, dude, I think
Cheap cars.
cheap cars, anything from the Malaise era, all that 73 to 79, all that shit's gonna blow up because they look cool but they're slow.
Mhm.
And so all the old guys like that car was not exciting when it came out. No one gives a shit about numbers matching anymore. Like you put something on a roadster shop chassis and put an LS in it, like as long as it's a custom LS, no one gives a shit about LS3 or whatever. It's worth so much more money. And so everyone's sick of seeing a 70 Chevelle and seeing a GTO and so there are some cars from that era that are outrageous. I mean, it's already happened. That fucking Pontiac, I can't remember what it's called. They only came in white and they had like the shaker hood and they had like the Ferrari style louvers over the the rear, not the rear windows, but
Yeah.
like that car, nobody wanted that car. That car's like fucking 100 grand now, and it's
Oh
like
wow.
it's got a 455 in it, but it's like 7-to-1 compression, like 125 horsepower. So in my opinion, any of those cars,
You talking about the Trans
whether
Am, the Firebird, the 455 Trans Am?
no, the big Pontiac.
No.
Hold on, let's see if I can multitask. I know where to find one.
Because I know they made those white ones with the blue hoods on them, or the blue eagle on the front, or the blue. I guess it's a Firebird, but either way.
Well, dude, that ship sailed. There was a time where like nobody wanted those.
Oh yeah,
they're so terrible.
I was thinking like he should get a Dodge Omni and swap it with some pepper pot wheels. Those things were cool, man. I would, if one day I'm gonna have one and I'm gonna put a cool motor in it, and people are gonna be like, "What is this stupid thing?" And I'm like, "Trust me."
Well, you know what else is still a good? Oh, it's the Le Mans Can-Am, the Pontiac Le Mans Can-Am. Those things used to be free, and now they're like 80 grand. I'll tell you what else is like a good deal. The 80 to 82 4-speed C3 Corvettes. You can get them for like 20, 25 grand, and I mean that sounds like a lot, but dude, it's like 25 grand is what 5 grand was to me.
Yeah.
It seems like, like you start going lower than that, it's like, oh, it's a piece of shit.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I remember when
Like
you could buy nice stuff for $3 grand, and that's like that.
Dude, my Toronado was 5 grand in 1999, and it was a perfectly presentable car.
Yeah.
Times have changed.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I think an E36 BMW would be kind of cool, like a 325 IS. I got limited differential. It's a good car. Vanos system. Throw intake and exhaust on it. Sounds like a beast.
You want anything? Those Mercedes, making rhymes. 80s Mercedes, the 500 SECs.
Yeah, those
coupes, the big fucking coupes, dude. Those things are rad, and they're so cheap.
Yep.
I saw a real AMG one, and it was still like not that expensive. But the regular ones, like they're like in the 20s, and that's one that's, some old guy had it, and he got it serviced every fucking week.
Yeah.
And like a cool color combination, like burgundy with a red interior, like really awesome. Those are sick.
Have you seen the Koenig specials ones, the wide body ones?
I've only seen the AMG wide body ones.
Yeah, that's what I'm
that,
talking
like,
about. It was a
yeah.
Koenig
Oh,
special.
yeah.
It had BBS wheels on and everything. They were sick.
hmm
I love those.
Oh yeah, that's what I wanted. My life changed when I was in junior high. It was all I wanted was like a Turbo S or one of those Mercedes, like. And then like by the mid '80s, all I wanted was a K5 Blazer, or a C3 Corvette,
Yeah.
or I secretly wanted an IROC, even though only the douchebags drove them where I lived. But I thought they were cool.
That was almost my first car when I was 16, but I ended up getting a Ford Ranger, which is the second Ford I've ever owned. It's always been Chevrolets. I had a 500 SL with bulletproof glass for a little while. Do you remember that, Gus? I had 24s on it. I bought it. I got it in trade for something else, and I cleaned that thing up, polished those wheels, and sold it like instantly. But that thing was awesome to drive around. The windows are so heavy that they would go up like half an inch at a
super
time.
slow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So what? Those just the big 4-door Mercedes?
Mm-hmm. It had
Yeah.
like curtains in the back, like you would have in a house, like with a curtain rod, and you
Yeah.
could close the curtains. It was pretty
Nice.
sick. I thought I was on top of the world with that thing. I think I paid like $3,000 for it, sold it for 10.
Nice.
I had a 300E at some point that my dad got. He went to an auction, and it was the shittiest 300E anybody could have ever bought. And it was like the guy who owned it. It must have been a lease deal, and he lived in the Northeast, and it was like, oh my god, it sucked all the money out of me. But I bought it because I thought it was funny. Like I put racks on it and a hitch, and I'd always have because I always had lumber on it and shit like that, or like pull a motorcycle trailer. And then when I moved to LA, I was like, this is not a funny car to have here. This is this is like people think I'm flexing, and so I sold it and bought the Tornado.
Did you ever have the diesel, the OM606?
No, but those were cool.
Those are they called it the 2JZ of the diesel engines. They're sick. That's another
Yeah.
car that I would have 100%.
Yeah, I mean, if you could find one of those in a manual too,
Oh,
they're
yeah.
really ridiculous.
Yeah. There's so many cool cars.
No.
It's like if I won the
They're-
lottery tomorrow and was a billionaire, I'd probably within 5 days I would have bought 50 cars, I think. Because there's just so many that I want.
There's so many that I want, and there's so many I want to build.
Yeah.
And
it's
That's
all
all I
stuff
do
nobody
most
would
of-
expect.
Oh yeah, I mean that was the thing. Like the pace car, I bought that before they blew up. And then the IROC, I got in way early on those. I just saw that market happening. The Monte Carlo, I mean, nobody wanted those when I bought it. Granted, I restored it, and like that made it not financially like, yeah, cool. But the only ones I fucked up on that I didn't buy were like the disco era Z28s, like the 79 to 81. I really wanted one of those, and I got talked out of it by an old guy who was like, "Yeah, we're slow." Blah, blah, blah. And man, there was more for sale back then than probably between 79 and 81 somehow. And they were so cheap. And now, like, to find a 4-speed AC car in like nice shape is just, I don't even see them.
Was it the 71 that had the split bumper? 70 or 71? Were you ever into those?
70. Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
love those.
me too.
70. Those have really come down. They went up. It's the RS.
Yep.
The RS package has that. Yeah, those are rad.
People always hated those, and I always thought they were so cool. I loved them.
I mean, that's the thing. The market changes because people die. Like the old guys die, and Like I wanted, the old guy made fun of me for wanting a 79 to 81 Z28, and I was like, dude, he's like, they're slow. I'm like, I was fucking 8 years old, and it looked cool. Like, who gives a fuck that they were slow back then? Put an engine in it,
Yeah.
like whatever.
Put an LT5 in it and call it a day.
Yeah, or something like some super custom traditional block,
Yeah, that too.
And that's nobody gives a fuck about numbers matching anymore.
I never did. I always thought that was stupid.
Yeah.
Like, I get it if
And
you're not going to drive it, but if it's your car, like, what do you care?
Well, look, even for me, like with that pace car, I put like a 79 Pioneer stereo in it. Cause I was like, oh, I don't want to cut dashboard. And then I was like, and then so I was going to order like a one DIN, center gauge cluster for it. I was like, then what am I going to do? Take the stock one and put it in my fucking storage unit, and then I die and like somebody finds it? Like, who gives a fuck? Chop a hole in it. I don't fucking care.
Yeah.
This is what I want.
Yeah.
Like, if I wanted that car in high school, and if I bought that car in high school, I would have put the most badass stereo I could afford in it. And it would have been this one if I could find, so like, fuck it. I'm going to make it mine. I don't give a shit. People, when I die, people can whine about getting the car and having a one DIN hole in the center console.
Oh, gross. He screwed a gooseneck into the center console.
I ruined it. I took out that super rare L82, and put in a 383. Ruined it. Someone was like, the L82 is exactly the same motor as the LT1s. It's just, got lower compression and da-da-da. I was like, what? So I spent 10 grand building that motor, or I just have less horsepower, or I build a 383 with AFR heads and fuel injection and all this stuff. And
you rev higher.
It's got more, and it revs higher, and it's more fun. And sounds fucking big. I mean, that motor, when I tell people it's 383, they can't believe it. They think it sounds like a big block.
Yeah, my grandma's got a 55 with a 383 stroker in it, and a lot of people gave him shit. They're like, "Why would you put a 383 stroker in there if you're swapping out motors?" And it's like, I mean, you can put whatever you want in there, but it's like with a big cam on that thing, you would never guess because when it turns on, it sounds like a big motor, but it's.
Oh yeah, and the weight. I mean, when you're talking about a Corvette, like the weight saving is just huge.
Yeah.
What's your favorite, you think, of all the GM motors? The old ones, not the new ones, not the fuel injector.
Oh, the old ones? Yeah. Well, I mean, how can you not love a 409 with that crazy valve cover and
Giddy Up 409?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, 454s are cool, but they're not terribly exciting. I mean,
I think because everybody has a 454.
Yeah, and they made them forever.
Yeah.
I mean, they put them in trucks.
I remember when you could pull them out of the junkyard and put them in stuff, pull them out of trucks.
Oh, yeah, like truck motors with all torque, no horsepower.
Yep.
What do they have, like those peanut heads? Is that what they were called?
I don't remember. That's like the LS1. Like everybody, they're like, you can just go to any Chevrolet truck and pull it out and put it in your 240 SX or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that was cool for a while. And then like the LSX motors took a hold of the scene and everybody was running to those.
I like the LSX motors sound. I feel like they have I don't know, like a different firing order or something. I don't know what GM does to LS motors and LT motors to make them sound like import V6s. Like,
that's funny.
I mean, so my BMW is a 4.2 liter. That motor sounds fucking huge. When I fire that thing up, people turn their heads. When I fired up the Cadillac with the LT4, whatever, it's LT4, but not, because it's more horsepower and torque than was in the Z06. Sounds like a little fucking piece of shit, and even when you hear them with exhaust, it's just like, they're so raspy, and I don't know if it's the firing order or what they do. And then the 383 is like What? It's like it's way. You know what? A 350 is 5.7 liter. So I don't know what a 3D3 is. Is it like six or because the LT4 is 6.2. So maybe it's the same size, but it sounds fucking huge, and the firing order is like.
It's a,
It sounds mean. It sounds like fucking something's coming your way, and it's deep.
I mean, it's a
You
6.3.
feel
It's
it.
a pretty good size motor.
You feel it in your soul.
Yeah.
The LT motor, like, and they pipe sound into your speakers
Oh, I
in
hate
the new
that.
cars.
Yeah.
And so, like, I'm driving the Cadillac. It's like, yeah, I'm in a fucking V8 with a stick shift. Well, and then you roll the windows down. You're like,
Meh.
that's not how this motor sounds.
It's
That's
so
a fake
crazy.
sound.
We tell people about
Yeah.
on the Volkswagen motors because they do it. They literally attach a vibrator to the windshield, and then whenever you accelerate, it creates electricity to it. And the more the electricity, the more it vibrates, and then your windshield vibrates, and it almost sounds like an engine. But yeah, you're right. On the outside, there's no sound.
Yeah, well, I mean, there is like if you roll your windows down, you can hear the motor, but it's way more high pitched and raspy
Yeah.
than the sound. They're making it sound like it's a traditional V8,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but that's not how it sounds coming out of tailpipes.
What was that? What was that car that they? It was an electric car. Was it the electric Charger or Challenger? And they had sound coming externally to make
Yeah.
it
And
sound
it's
like an engine.
speakers underneath it.
Ugh. Yeah, to hide the cries of the child slave labor that's mining for all the shit that goes into that.
Right. Shit. What's your thought on the lithium mines in Appalachia?
Oh, I don't know about lithium mines in Appalachia.
So the whole conspiracy now is that, which I'll explain it if you want, but they're saying that the government can manipulate the weather and steered hurricanes through Appalachia to destroy all their property to mine lithium out of those hills and to create lithium batteries.
The only reason I don't believe that is because the largest lithium deposit ever discovered is in Nevada, and they just discovered it,
Yeah.
and they're not
And they're
doing
not pulling
anything.
it out.
So,
Well, I can tell you why I
No.
don't believe it is because I'm from Appalachia, and I know that coal in the ground is worth more than the gold that sits on top of it, and they blow gold
Yeah.
out of the mountains all the time to get to the coal. So those
Well-
tiny little lithium mines up there, they're not that profitable.
no, and my parents live there, and they live near Brevard, and they're like, yeah, everybody said this. There's all the story like this. It's not even stories. It's like, oh, the same thing happened in 1920.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
And it wasn't just that there was a hurricane. It was a storm that a big storm
Yep.
saturated the ground. Then the hurricane
Yep.
came, and so
And
So
that
the
is
ground couldn't
exactly
absorb-
what happened this time. They call it a 1,000-year flood for a reason. I mean, it literally happened
Yeah.
1,000 years ago or 100
It's
years
a
ago, I guess. in this
perfect
case, but yeah.
combination of
Yeah.
the absolute
Yeah.
worst conditions. But everybody, it's just much easier to paint a conspiracy theory than to try to understand science.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, even like, people oh, it's hot. Well, when the Vikings moved to Iceland, they could farm. And when and now that the snow's melting, they're finding like signs of can't whatever.
They just found
Little-
a sword, like one of the oldest Viking swords ever. They literally just found it in a place
Yeah.
that there was no reason for them to be.
Yeah, so it's just like I don't know, man. Temperature comes, temperature goes. I mean, like I'll tell you who's not responsible if there is any human. Well, first of all, the environmental shit as far as pollution from third world countries and toxic shit and runoff and fucking toxic fertilizer that we use on farming going into the water supply and all that.
Yep.
That and the garbage in the ocean, that's way more of
Yeah.
a problem.
Yeah.
And if anybody is affecting the climate due to emissions, it's not the fucking consumer.
It's Coca-Cola.
There's not. Yeah, I mean, Jesus Christ, us driving cars. I mean, look, it's like emissions are real. Obviously,
Yeah.
Look at LA in the 50s and look at it now. And but now with catalytic converters and fuel injection and everything, it's like, okay, the air is good now, but what is it? Six freighter, like 6 shipping, container ships, whatever the fuck they're called.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They produce. I mean, they produce more exhaust than like all
Oh, yeah.
consumer vehicles combined, and they're all diesel. and they have nothing. All the particulate matter just goes in the atmosphere, and whether or not CO2 affects climate or melts ice, black particulate matter settling on ice absorbs heat and makes it melt.
Yeah.
That's real. But those are big companies, so nobody gives a shit about them. You can't push them around. You can push us, the consumer, around and make us buy, toxic waste dump cars.
What's
that
crazy is I'll have this conversation with people, but like everybody pushes like the pollution thing here, and then I'll say, do you know where the United States ranks on the scale of countries? Do you know what number we are in level of pollution? Can you guess?
Oh yeah. Can I guess?
Yeah.
Number, like, as far as number one, the worst.
Yeah.
72.
102.
102. Yeah.
Well, we're doing all right. We're fine.
That's the whole thing with the turtles.
Oh yeah.
That garbage doesn't come from us. It's
Right.
not our straws.
Yep.
It's straws in fucking Indonesia and India and like all these places where they just take their garbage and dump it into the water supply and it flows to the ocean. We have like our straws go to a dump.
Yeah.
Like,
and then they found out now that like all the paper straws, the adhesive that holds it together is like is getting ready to get it banned in California because they found out it causes cancer.
Well, it's the same thing with like the lining. Like if you go get coffee in a paper cup because they banned styrofoam, all that lining now, it's not wax anymore. It's like got plastic in it, and you turns into forever plastics that you absorb in your body.
And then it makes your estrogen go up and your testosterone go down, and that's why we have this huge issue. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. Djibouti, Africa imports trash from other countries and then dumps it and then just burns it.
Yeah.
That's literally how they make money.
That's what I was gonna. I thought it was for fun but no,
that's their economic plan.
Yeah. That's their plan. Bring us your trash, we'll burn it for you since you can't burn it in your country. Well, anything good coming out from Smokewagon that people need to keep an eye out on? I know you're a busy man, so I don't want to keep you too long.
Look, I'm going to tell you guys something. The new Christmas bottles, okay, they're going to glow in the dark.
Oh yeah.
And not green, because that's Halloween.
Yeah.
They're going to glow in the dark. The snow is going to glow in the dark blue.
Oh.
Like snow in the moonlight. Yeah, how about that?
Yeah.
Yes. I talked to Santa Claus, and he was very disappointed that the Christmas bottles didn't glow. And so I got a little North Pole magic sent my way.
Good.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking cool. We're just been doing the barrel picks. I've got the first rare and limited in a while, 777s, which is 7 year of all the 3 different bourbon mash bills. So 2 bourbon mash bills, 1 traditional rye mash bill, which I'm excited about. I would do more of those, but man, I don't want them to be bullshit, and so I have to be inspired, and it's been a crazy few months, and so I wasn't feeling very creative.
What's the labels on those going to look like? A deck of like 3 7s with like a gun smoke on it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, it's gonna look like the regular rare and limited label.
I figured you should definitely throw them cards on there though for the 777s.
Oh sure, yeah.
777s
is slot machine, but we could put some cards on there.
Yeah, well, dude, 777s is a hand in poker. Come on, you're probably not gonna win with it, but it's there.
You will win if you get 7 777s on the old slot machine.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Cool.
I think. Where do you lose?
I think it depends on the machine. Like I've seen 777 machines. I don't know. I haven't been on a slot machine in a while. You would know better. You live in the land of slot machines.
I don't play slot machines. The only thing I ever play is like the poker on the bar top, the video poker on the bar tops.
Okay, that makes sense.
Because they get you. They make you think you're going to win.
Yeah.
Right? Because you keep, as long as you bet small, you win. And then you go, fuck, if only I bet big, I actually would have made some money instead of 35 cents. And so you bet it all, and then you lose.
Yeah.
Every time.
I believe it. I was in Louisville last week or last month, maybe. I don't know. But we went to a VFW and they had slot machines in the VFW, and that exact thing happened. We kept winning small, and we just couldn't believe it. We just kept winning, and I was like, "Come on, let's go big," and lost
and
it
then
all.
you lose.
Lost it all.
But I do know people that like, go to the grocery store with their girlfriend or whatever, and they're just hanging out and put money in like this and win like $30,000 just chilling and stuff.
Nice.
I could go for that.
Yeah,
It's not me though. I'm not that person.
Me neither. I'm not very successful at gambling.
No.
All right, Aaron, thank you for giving us an hour of your time. We appreciate it.
Of course. Did you have any other questions?
Do you have any questions, guys?
No. I think talked cars, talked whiskey.
I mean, I do. I could get us into a gun rabbit hole, but I'm sure you don't want to be on here for another hour. So.
Oh man, I haven't been shooting in forever. I keep buying them, but it's like
I just bought a Ruger Vaquero and did drop hammers, and I learned how to time a revolver, which is actually pretty cool. Never had to do that before.
The Ruger Vaquero. That's their SAA, right?
It's I bought the 45 long Colt, and then I had this guy on Etsy make me a pretty sweet custom holster and everything.
Holster.
Yep. All leather. It's nice, real thick. It's a gun belt, proper gun belt.
Yeah. Yeah, I have one of those. I have one of those for 45. I got from El Paso Saddlery.
Oh, cool.
Oh, nice.
And so it's got like you wear the gun belt with your regular belt.
Yep.
Like the way. Yeah.
Yep. That's what I got.
But it's all low on your hip.
Yep.
And you're feeling cool.
I got the same thing, real thick. I always wondered how they stay up, but now that I have it, I realize it's just because it's super thick leather. It's not going anywhere.
Oh yeah.
I love it. It's I've been practicing my spins and
cool.
and my fanning, and I think I'm gonna start with blanks and fan with blanks, and then eventually I'm gonna step up to shooting real rounds, see if I could fan.
I have a Colt SAA, but it's like some super limited edition, so I've never even shot it. I just use it for a prop when I do podcasts like this one. Except it's not here. It's
at the shop. Well, we like
not that you guys don't deserve the props. It's just I don't know what the fuck happened to me today.
Well, we got the real you instead of the prop you, and that's fine.
Yeah. Usually it's just a cardboard cutout, and it's like AI.
How many of these do you do a week? You think?
Oh, now like. I don't even do one a week anymore. I mean, back in the day, like during COVID, there was lives and podcasts and everything all the time.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you doing one for us. It's always fun.
Oh, of course, man. They're fun.
Always a good time.
Do you like? Yeah, because most of them too. Like, I mean, there's a lot of bad hosts out there.
Yeah, we listen to a lot of bad podcasts.
Yeah, there's some that you just like they're not asking me questions. I'm just like, hey, I know I can talk. Yeah, I know I can talk, but like, is there anywhere we want to go here?
Give me a direction here.
So what's your mash bill? You have barrels in your building, right? What's the desert heat?
Oh God,
how fast does it age? It ages faster in Las Vegas.
When are you gonna have a 15-year?
Oh, I bet that happens a lot.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah,
dude, I will say the younger, I put that on a lot of people because it's like it's all the flavor of the regular one. I mean, it's like the average consumer is not going to be able to tell the difference, and it saves them a ton of money.
The average consumer is not going to like uncut unfiltered,
right? Yeah,
because it has too much oak. That is the irony of the world. When I do tastings, for like at liquor stores or charity events, things like that aren't like bourbon people. Or even whiskey events. I just did the Omaha whiskey event. People are there for scotch. All those, the amount of people that come up to me like, what's your smoothest? And I give them the straight bourbon is $29. They're like, oh my God, how much is this? It's like $100 bottle. I'm like, no, it's $29. This is not scotch. Scotch, you need time to remove youth. Bourbon, you can remove youth in like 4 years, depending on how you're blending it, warehouse location, everything. What you start paying for is oak. And, and there's people like, I want the oldest, I want the most expensive. I'm like, what do you drink? Like, I drink Crown, I drink this. I'm like, you're not going to like it. and they drink it like, oh, that was harsh. I'm like, well, yeah, it's cast strength, and there's tons of oak in it, and tannins to the average consumer
Mhm.
is a harshness that's perceived as ethanol burn. And so Desert Colt and Straight, uh, you can give those to anybody and they're gonna like them.
Yeah.
And that's what people don't understand. That's like the audience on those is so wide.
Yeah.
The audience for uncut and filtered is very narrow. And even I mean, I told the story before. I don't know if you heard it, but like 2021, when they're super hype behind the brand, all these people were complaining that the batches had gotten younger. I'm like, they haven't gotten younger. And so I did 10 in a row that were just 6, 7, and 8 year, no 4 year, and they were super oaky and super tannic, and nobody liked them. And because it was harsh, they said, "This is too young." I was like, "Oh, you guys don't know what the fuck you're
You don't get
talking
it.
about." Yeah, you just don't know anything. If something's harsh, you say youth. So you don't. I was like, so I'm not trying to appeal to you guys. I'm just going to do it so I like it. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's yeah, you could give Desert, and by the way, it is a perfect experiment because states that still have uncut the younger shit doesn't move. States that have sold out and moved to Desert Colt, it's like,
Huh. That actually makes
yeah,
sense. I might.
Yeah.
We have a tasting coming up. I might include because I have one that's not opened, and I might grab. It's 24 people, so I need more than one bottle. But
right.
I might do Desert Colt there because I know that the store that I usually get it from has it.
Yeah, Desert Colt is like that's the thing. Everybody says they want hazmat and they want 1,200-year-old bourbon,
Yeah.
and then you do a blind taste test and they want 5 to 7 year.
Yep. I tell everybody 4 to 6 is like that's a
Yeah,
good spot.
yeah.
You don't got to
As long
find a
as yeah,
10-year age statement.
no, bourbon does not have to be expensive to be good.
True.
You know, I mean, I think a lot of it is because for consistency, brands fuck their, big brands fuck their shit up by making it 80 proof and chill filtering it and then charcoal filtering it so it's consistent. And then you lose all the flavor and nuance, and it's just like this oaky water that is harsh.
Yeah.
And so people think if you got to spend a lot of money to get something smooth, but you can have more smooth because
Mhm.
more soft flavors and less complexity at 4 years old than you can at 8 years old.
We've given you like 7 S word passes. We don't allow that word on this podcast.
Smooth. That's what they say.
Yeah, no, it's fine if you
Everybody-
say it because you're making fun of them. So
Well, I shouldn't because there's more of them
there
than
are
there are
definitely more of them.
bourbon enthusiasts.
Yeah,
It's
You
true.
want to become a big brand. You want to make like real money for a long period of time and have a loyal following. General consumers, man, they'll latch onto your brand and that's all they'll drink. And
It's true.
bourbon guys are like, fuck these guys, they got too big, or
Oh yeah.
I mean, people hate on me because we got big, like we're some big brand. It's just yeah, we do more volume, but it's not like
Yeah.
I'm still like just a independently owned, and they give big brands such a big pass on dog shit.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like fucking Sir Edwards. This will taste really good.
Yeah.
It's fucking not even straight rye, man. It's got flavors and non-alcohol blenders. Yeah, it tastes good. They made flavors in a laboratory to add to it to make it taste good. That's why it's not a straight rye.
Yeah.
Or when Traveler
Yeah, I
came
was gonna say
out,
the
like,
Stapleton whiskey.
Traveler,
Like
yeah.
everybody loved it, and I'm like, I don't understand how because we did a review on it. And I was like, I'd pass at $20 if you need something to mix with some Coke, go for it. But if you're drinking it
it's
straight,
Seagram's.
it's Canadian
Yes,
whiskey.
that's exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Seagram's rebrand. Like when Diageo bought Seagram's, they sold off. They kept. I can't remember. I think they kept VO, or they kept 7 and sold VO to Sazerac. It's Seagram's VO in a fucking different package, and at least that was yeah, $39. Third Edwards fucking $88 or $89 for an 88 proof product.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And people are like, oh, it's very viscous. Yeah, not a straight bourbon, dude. So it's got caramel coloring in it, which is thick. They're thickening up with non-alcohol blenders.
Yeah.
Like if you're fucking putting bourbon, I'm a bourbon guy on Instagram, and you're drinking something and you cannot tell like the difference between lipid esters and non-alcohol blenders and naturally occurring grain flavors or flavors added, just
give it up.
fucking give it up.
Start slamming shit around. That seems to work well.
I mean,
somehow.
that's the thing. Like, I don't trust any of them because they all show the same fucking bottle on the same day.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, did you go to the store and buy that? No, you got it for free. At least like automobile reviews are like, we have the company's press car today.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like they don't pretend they went out and bought it and, you know, hey guys, I just got this fucking GT3 RS and I go, well, let's see how it is. You know, like
we make it pretty obvious if somebody sends us something. Like you're gonna know.
Yeah. And no, they never do bad reviews.
Of course.
I've seen stuff that they say is good, and then I go to a distributor and they have it, and I'm like, oh, I've never had that. I heard it's good. And they're like, really? Because we passed on it. And I'm like, oh, really? Let me try it. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
How much is that? And they're like, price to us, FOB, $84. I'm like, that's $160 bottle? That tastes like dog shit. That tastes like dog shit that was distilled yesterday. And I saw that all over fucking Instagram.
We've gotten bottles before where I'll taste it and just message them back and be like, listen, I'll do a video if you want to, but I'm not going to review it positively.
You're not going to like it.
And they're usually like, just don't worry about it then. Like, okay, thanks. Have a nice day. Appreciate you. Let me know if you have something else you want to try. Like,
trying to give them the benefit of the doubt. I don't.
Yeah. It's like, we're not interested in being bought out, and it never will be. It's like,
right.
It's just not. I couldn't imagine selling your soul for a whiskey brand. Like, I don't know. It's I'd rather that I'm telling you the truth. Like sometimes we just don't post for a while because I don't have anything to post. Like I'm not gonna make shit up.
Well, I mean, look, that's why, you know, during the heyday we had all these big offers to sell the brand, and it was like, you know, it's not like I can leave. So what, I'm gonna go work for a big corporation and have them tell me where I gotta be and what I gotta do, and
yeah.
It's like, fuck that, man. I gotta be free.
Yeah, it's almost like you've made a slave to yourself or you're a slave to somebody else.
Yeah, was it golden handcuffs, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah. That's how these corporate takeovers go. Like, we'll buy it, but you're gonna we own you for the next 6 years.
Yep.
Yep.
And you know, people are like, when are you gonna do the finished barrel? When are you gonna do this? I'm like, I never, because I don't like it.
Yeah.
Well, it's very hot right now. I'm like, I don't give a fuck.
And then the best part about owning a business, all the people that come to you and say, you know what you should do.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm like, how successful are you?
Yeah.
And because you see these brands, you see these brands and everything's a fucking LTO.
Yeah.
There is no core expressions. It's like, and it's happening in cigars now too.
I've noticed.
Where I'm just like, really, another limited release? Can't you guys just release something that I want to smoke all the time?
And then be able to get again when I want it.
Yeah, and have it be fucking consistent.
Yeah.
Not like, oh man, that box I bought was amazing. Let me go get another one. Oh, now it tastes like shit.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
that's one of the reasons I don't smoke cigars anymore, because I couldn't find like the Miller Lite of cigars. Like that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a cigar that is not going to piss me off. It's not going to be too much, and I'm not going to be angry.
Oh, I can give you a list. I have a list now. Yeah, I don't. I've got like 3 that I smoke all the time, and then like a couple in rotation. But there was a time where I just like, oh, I'd get every limited release, and I'd get all this stuff, and every day was a different cigar. No.
Well, yeah, definitely tell me the list, because I'd love to. I like, especially with fall weather coming. I like sitting around smoking a cigar.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'll take that list.
I love it, man.
Hell yeah. All right. Thank you again.
So I'm sorry that I don't have a bunch of new exciting things to tell you about, except for 777s. I do like,
dude, I didn't
one limited release a year.
I'm pretty sure when I hit you up, I said, hey, do you want to do another car podcast? Like I wasn't really planning to talk that much whiskey.
Do people like hearing about the cars? I mean, what do they want? What do the people want?
I think because you're like, you have like the personality. I think people like listening to you talk. Like the story about the stories in the beginning about like those are really good stories. Like I think people are gonna like that.
Dude, I am very fortunate. I have had a life of adventure. I have had more adventure, and I've had hard times. I've had a lot of hard times.
Yeah.
And but you know, I don't mind because even during the hard times, it's like shit's happening. It's intense. As long as shit's intense, like because the bad stuff was really bad. It was
Yeah.
it was really intense, and so it's like whatever, shit happens, man. It's like time is so fleeting that now if something bad, I'm like whatever. I won't even be able to remember. Like we'll get through it. We're all like me, John, my business partner is fucking probably smarter than me. Um, and we're smart. We'll figure it out. Like, and then we'll forget about it because there'll be some other new bullshit thing to deal with.
There's
Or,
always
like,
something.
How old were you when you
Yeah.
were like, all right, shit's coming together and I don't really see me going down again unless I royally screw up?
Oh, 30, 33. That's when I made real money out of the bar and I bought a house. And I was like, okay, I'm not a fuck up because I was a fuck up, man. Like, not in my professional life, but like in school and everything. Like I don't mean to sound cliched, like I was going to join the military because I didn't, not because of anything, just I didn't know what the fuck I was going to do. I was such a fuck up, and the only thing that saved me is I went to high school in Scotland my junior year, and when I came back, I I tried, and so I got like good grades for two out of the four quarters, and which really pissed my parents off because they were like, "This is what every teacher and every principal said." Like Aaron has a lot of potential if he would just apply himself, and I was like, "Nope, I'm just gonna get in fights and smoke pot and fuck off. That's what I'm gonna do." Like,
Yeah. I did that for a long time too.
and and then but it didn't matter because I was getting into state schools. That was when I lived in New Jersey, and I'd go tour them, and I was like, I would rather fucking kill myself than do this. And yeah, so like I had a recruiter come to my house and everything, and then I got into a college I wanted to go to. And then after college, like because it was the film business, and I was like I was I was making I was it was never consistent, like because it's all freelance. You work a job and you're looking for another job. So I never felt secure, even though like I was doing good. I had There'd be a union strike and we wouldn't work for 6 months or something would happen. And then when I quit the workforce and opened my own business, man, I'd go to Coinstar. Like I'd go to Coinstar and get $20 and be like, okay, we're gonna go get some 99-cent tacos, so I get to eat today, and like
Del
put
Taco?
$5 Jack in the Box.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and put some gas in my car, and like hopefully we sell more shit tomorrow. And but yeah, when I got to the bars and opened my first bar and was making money and bought a house, I was like, all right, everything's okay. And that's when I started drinking because I was like, I never felt like I deserved to have fun. And then I was like, I deserve to have fun now. All I've done is work and sacrifice. Let's go party.
I'm really sad that the younger generation will never know what it's like to be saved by Coinstar. Like they're never
Oh,
going to know what
man.
that's like. That was literally I paid rent with Coinstar.
Coinstar is not the worst. The worst, the thing that we used to do, both my business partner and I, we had such a good, everybody liked us at the bank, and banks were different back then. And I would go to the fucking grocery store and write a check, hoping I would make money to cover it by the time it processed. And like the bank would call me at 9 in the morning and be like, "Hey, do you have money to cover this check?" And I'd call my business partner, or it would happen to Barry, and Barry would be like, "Dude, can I go get money from the store?" Like I got, and we just kept doing that back, and it was fucking crazy, man. But we were just like, it's like just game. If that was gambling, we're talking about gambling. You're like gambling on everything. You're like, here's a check. See what happens in the next 3 days.
Yeah, hopefully it clears. Yeah. That's how I got into cars because I started flipping cars just to because I could not make ends meet. I was married with two roommates, which a lot of people couldn't fathom. But I mean, that was it. I was married. I had two roommates, and I was buying.
That makes it sound
cars.
like you were married and your kids became your roommates.
I didn't have any kids. I still don't have any kids.
Just the way you said it.
Oh yeah. No kids. It was like legit men that could easily turn my wife into loving them more. I had them in my house. Yeah, and it was every day was a gamble. Like, are they going to see her getting out of the shower? Like, you never know what was going to happen. So I started flipping cars just so I could make $200 here and there.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say 33. Whenever I got out of the Army is when I was finally like, okay, I got like an adult job now, and I bought my first house, and
Right.
Yeah,
that was the thing. Buying a house, it was like, okay,
yeah,
as long as I can make this payment and pay these bills, I'm secure.
Then I had like
No
this
one's gonna
notice,
kick me
like,
out.
you have all the like you make pretty good money, but you don't have any money because I had so much debt. So now I'm just paying debt off, and it's like hopefully one day I'll get the debt under control, and then I'll be able to have fun again.
I do that all the time.
Yeah,
I rack up a bunch of debt and I pay it off, and then I'm like, oh, cool, everything's safe and secure.
what am I going to do with all this money now?
I want some more stuff.
Yeah.
I want some cars and bikes and do some builds. And,
Yeah.
And I don't want to wait because I'm getting older and time's fleeting, and you can only. I mean, that's what if you're truly into motorsports, just fucking do it. Like when I was before I bought a house, I bought an MV Agusta F4 SPR, which was the factory MV Agusta race bike in 2004. And man, I could not afford that bike at all, but they gave me a loan and I bought it. And I can't replicate that experience.
True.
Because I'm too old. Like getting on that bike would hurt me. It would hurt my joints. I'm too fat. I was young and skinny and I had time all day. I rode that bike all day, every day for fucking years, and I got the most out of it, and it was such an incredible experience, like to have something like that at that age and getting to enjoy it, and like learning how to ride a bike like that, and smoking everybody up on Angeles Crest on that thing. Like, I'm not going to smoke anybody now because I'm too old. I understand the consequences if I fall. Yeah. Like, it's not death. You're not going to know if you die. It's like being injured. It's being injured and having a whole chunk of your life taken away where you're sitting around and you can't do anything. And time is so much more precious the older you get, or you get fucking paralyzed,
Yeah.
And so, like, I'm not going to do shit like I did back then. And back then, if I fell, I would have bounced off some rocks. And
yeah, you would have been fine.
Like,
I've noticed that now too. I'm starting to get rid of. I don't know that I'm done with motorcycles, but I'm going to take a break because I just have too many friends here that, well, not necessarily friends, too many acquaintances here that have lost legs in the past 2 years or been killed, got ran over by a box truck or whatever. We just had a guy on the podcast made it through Iraq just to get his leg ripped off by a guardrail. And it's like, and now he can't do all the stuff he used to do, and he's our age. And I'm like, listen, man, maybe you'll get back on a Harley one day, but
that's why I transitioned to Harleys.
Yeah.
It's like you feel like you're going fast, you're pushing that bike to its limits, and you're like, you look down, you're going like 60.
Yeah, that's that old slow car mentality we were talking about before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Anything else?
Okay, I think that's it.
Hell yeah. Thank you, Aaron, so much for coming on with us. It's always a pleasure, man. We got to keep doing this. Like, I think it's like once a year we get on and chat, and then we always look forward to it.
Absolutely. Oh, this time next year, I've had the new space open. Everything's gonna be cool. It's gonna be a totally different world for me.
Nice.
Maybe we can do one in person next year. We'll come up there and rent some cars and play around.
By then, who knows? Might not even have to. Yeah, you should rent cars. I'm not gonna let you drive.
Yeah, I didn't think so. If I follow you, it'll be all right, but you don't want to follow me.
That's funny.
No, and will you drive one of my cars?
Yeah, I'll just follow you and I'll go slow.
No,
I don't have the insurance for it. I'll just rent something. There's so many cool things to rent in Las Vegas, so I'd rather do that anyway.
Oh yeah,
sick
for sure.
All right, well that's it, folks. Thanks for listening. Hopefully you learned something.
Thank you.
Yeah,
and had fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Go to your local liquor store and buy some Smokewagon so I can drive one of Aaron's cars.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks. Thank you.